we have organized public work for unemployed people, 300,000 cases. So now the Hungarian economy, because we are in difficulties as many European countries, the market is not able to provide jobs for the people. You can't say to people that, no jobs, no social aid, no welfare state anymore, please die out or something like that. It does not work. So we have to be morally well-based leadership. Otherwise, they will not accept the whole reconstruction policy of the country. And the moral basis is that if the market is not ready, the business is not able to provide a job for you, we organize public jobs. Many different, various kinds of jobs. Agriculture, repairing, and so on and so on. And the people would like to come. So there are more people who would like to come to public work than how many jobs we are able to organize at this moment. So we have to realize our capacity to organize that kind of job and to finance it, which is anyway far below, the salary in public work is far below the minimum wage on the market. So it's lower. But the people even would like to come, instead of saying that to my people. But it's very important for us that the Roma people, the Gypsy people, are involved as well. So in Hungary we have a lot of discussions exactly how many, but at least 600,000 Gypsy people we have. It will be even higher anyway. And they are not integrated properly in the society. And they are suffering always when the market is going down because they are untrained, they have a lot of lack of working experience and so on and so on. But now, because of that process, the Roma people and families would like to come as well. And we organize special programs for the Roma ladies. Because the difference between the Romas and the non-Romas is that the Romas are able to confess that the real are the ladies. The others are not able to do that. So the boss in the Roma family are the ladies. So therefore we organize programs for the Gypsy ladies to be involved somehow into the labor market. So that kind of things are going on. I can't say everything is perfect. I can't say we are over, but the direction is rather impressive and inspiring at the same time, especially from a human moral point of view. And now on Christianity, that's what I try to explain. When you create a constitution, you have to have an overlook on your history as a nation. And Hungary arrived to the Carpathian Basin where we live still now 1,000 years ago, a little bit more than that. 1,100. And if you take the question, how is it possible that a nation, a group of people, who have no any relatives in the surroundings, the land is not known to anybody, the territory is exactly at the crossing point of the world routes, Turkish, Russian, German, whatsoever. And we have states and communities able to maintain itself for more than 1,000 years. You have to give an answer to that. And the answer is Christianity. You can't deny it. So if you have an overlook of your history, it's obvious that without Christianity, the Hungarians would have disappeared. Why should we deny that fact? Because it's a fact. It's not an opinion about whether you like the God or you approve the existence of God or not. This is the question of the role of Christianity, the faith, the values which are coming from that in your history. So that's the reason why we hold it on the line. On the other side, we try to be as modern as possible, because to be modern is sometimes hard. But we have to be very cautious with the modern ideas, because they can survive, or they will not. So, we have some traditions, like Christianity back to 2,000 years. And now we have other approach to the society in the last 50 years, 100 years. So to say that this is the future is rather questionable. So therefore, I'm ready to take a discussion on the understanding of Europe, the future of Europe. My understanding is that the mainstream, and I would not like to deny the right of the present mainstream in Europe to be a mainstream, because they organize themselves very strongly, and they are supported by many important social forces. So the mainstream in the European Union, accepting the differences between Finland, Portugal, Hungary, and Britain, because it's difficult to say anything on Europe on value basis because we are so different, but basically let's try to do so. So the mainstream has a vision of Europe. As far as I'm able to understand from the papers and from the political leaders' announcements, the vision is that Europe is moving from the religious-based, value-based society to the more secular one, from the national feeling-based society to the more international one, and the very much family-based society from the individuals of different forms of families. That's a strong vision of the future. We can't deny the fact that there are a lot of people who think about it. They call it progressive. That's the fact. But I disagree with you. The point is that there are some other kind of people in Europe who would like to argue in favor of their own opinion. My opinion is that Christianity, religious feelings and values does not belong to the past, but belong to the future as well. And I would like to see a Europe which still respects that kind of values. I don't think that nations are over and we should look for supranational states or supra-international states or something like that. I believe that nation is important. Nation creates value, diversity is the main core of life, so we should maintain our diversity in terms of national feelings as well. So that's part of my vision. And the third is families. We have a lot of families, a lot of discussions on families, and I would not like to argue against anyone. But I would like to be very clear that we defend a 4,000-year-old tradition, the Jewish Christian tradition, saying man, woman. That's family. I can accept that there are new reform attempts and visions and approaches. Why not? That's part of society, so we can discuss this point. But my vision is different. So what I'm fighting for is not just to dominate the Europe by our own values, but at least I would like to be accepted as a European view. Probably not part of the mainstream. Probably I don't know because nobody never organized referendum on the issue. Probably we are the minority, but we are European. So being, Christian-based, family-based, nation-based idea of the future is not bad tradition of the European history. It's a European tradition which is very good. So I just would like to get some space and room for that kind of approaches in the discussion. I don't deny the fact that others have different kind of options. But being called as non-European, because I think that Christianity has a message for the future, is this fair? To say that Europe should be the continent of the nations, this is un-European. Described as un-European, is fair. Or to say that the traditional form of family should be maintained. To say un-European is fair, simply not fair. So if what's going on around Hungary, sometimes it's not a Hungarian discussion, but more European. And we should not be frightened by that discussion. Because I think without that kind of discussion, how we can live and create democracy? If you don't speak about the very basic issues and to discuss it rather in a civilized way, how we can have a democracy in Europe? So that's my, may I say, Hungarian approach. That's not Hungarian approach. It's an old European tradition, back to Voltaire. Probably I disagree with you, but I'm ready to die to let you say what you think. So that kind of approach is actual again now. So that's how we think about Christianity, which is a very important question. I can have another lecture later on. I mean, not today. Anyway, but what does it mean? What does it mean that everybody in the world, if you look around, the perspective, developing and getting more and more successful economies, how they are related to their, may I say, value basis and religious basis and, I would say, spiritual basis. So, I can't imagine an Asia which is successful without neglecting that tradition. The reason is why Asia is successful, besides many other points, that the Asians are able to create a moral background for their business success. The problem in Europe is that we lost the value basis of our economy. the economy was successful in Europe because it was somehow related to certain value base. I belong to a religious minority anyway. I'm not a Catholic. Hungary is Catholic. I'm a Catholic. I belong to the minority. But anyway, we all agree that if business lost the basic principles which are coming from your cultural background, that could destroy everything. Why the European continent is the only continent in the history of the human being having no war, having high level of healthcare system, and a lot of money and welfare system, and we are decreasing by number. The only case in the history is that. How is it possible? It has some reason. And I think the reason is that we lost our value base. We can discuss it. What was that value base? How could it be recreated? What could be good for the future? But the fact is that the European economy lost its spiritual value base. And without having known that kind of basis, we are in trouble. That's how we understand the situation. I would not like to preach, because it's another job, it's not mine. I'm a secular leader. But I'm sure that we desperately need some kind of emotional, spiritual impetus in the European Union. Otherwise, just on a very rational way of thinking, we cannot get out of the